everybody, welcome back to the Hello Goddess podcast. I am your host, Mandy Deada Grace. I am a Reiki practitioner, a wellness lover, and a spiritual seeker. So today we have a special guest on the podcast. Her name is Jessica Auffrey. So Jessica Auffrey is an entrepreneur, fashion lover, and has been called the queen of social media. Jessica grew up in the country on the east coast of Canada. At an early age, she knew that she wanted to achieve big things. She has had a successful career in business management for almost 10 years, acquiring skills in organization as well as working with people of all personalities and helping them find harmony in the workplace. Always having a passion for fashion while working full-time as a business manager, Jessica pursued studies in fashion marketing and buying at Lasalle College, receiving her diploma in 2017. In January of 2020, her first business, Lavish and Rosewood, was born. In March, Jessica threw herself into entrepreneurship after losing her job due to the pandemic. After months of doing her own marketing, Jessica realized there was a gap in the local market for social media marketing for small businesses. She decided to pursue her second passion and start offering social media management to other businesses in the Greater Moncton area. In August of 2020, Jessica officially launched Social House Media, a growing digital marketing agency that is passionate about developing and industry-leading strategies. So without further ado, let's welcome Jessica Auffrey. Hello everyone, welcome back to my podcast, Hello Goddess. I am your host, Mandy Deada Grace, and today I'm so excited because I have a special guest. Her name is Jessica Auffrey. Hello, Jessica.
Hi.
How are you doing today?
I'm doing really good. How are you?
I'm doing really good. I'm so excited to have you on my podcast. I've been kind of lurking in the background, looking at your stuff, and you're always so amazing on social media. I love looking at your work and everything you're up to.
Well, thank you so much for having me. It's a pleasure. I've been a fan of your podcast, so I'm happy to be on.
Oh, that's so sweet. Thank you so much. I love getting feedback. Like I do this from my heart, so I love having good feedback about that. So maybe we could talk about how we met before. We were trying to figure that out before this recording.
Yeah, I don't even know how we met. So it's really funny because we've known each other for feels like a really long time. We were young, a lot younger back
Minimum
then.
10 years, yeah.
Yeah, so it was either through dance or modeling. I'm not sure.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Probably both, and it just blurs out. Everything is blurry.
It doesn't surprise me. I've met so many people through activities like that I did while I was younger because I was doing modeling, dancing. I was doing theater for a while. So I met all sorts of people. And it's fun to I still follow them on Facebook or whatever and keep in touch. But
Yeah.
At the end of it, I'm like, I don't even know. Now it's been so long where I met you in which place. So
Just know you know them, but you don't know how.
Yeah.
Awesome. So if you watched the beginning of this video, I already introduced Jessica, but maybe you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
100%. So my name's Jessica. I have two businesses. So I'm an entrepreneur. I own Lavish and Rose and Social House Media. Social House Media is a growing digital marketing agency. So we focus on social media marketing. And Lavish and Rose is a fashion brand. So we do fashion styling and makeup artistry.
Amazing. I love that. And they're so successful businesses too. I'm really, really proud that I know you and that you're doing all of this work. Maybe you could tell us a little bit about your story. How did you get to where you are now? Because you have accomplished so much and you have so much going for you.
Yeah, 100%. It started, I would say probably when I graduated high school. So actually going back to all the activities that I used to do in school, I was like always out, always doing things. I actually hated school with a passion. I was not good in school. So I'm dyslexic. So it was something that I always struggled with, but I found so much joy through my activities that I would do. So whether it be dancing, theater, modeling, and with modeling I found a really deep love for fashion. But that really started when I was a lot younger too. But all to say, when I graduated high school, I was like, I want to get out of this city. I want to move away. I want to meet new people. I want new experiences. And I really wanted to throw myself into modeling. So at the time, I was signed with an agency in Halifax, and we found agencies in Toronto that I got in touch with, and I started doing some modeling there. But the city was really tough on me. So I was very young. I was 17 when I moved. I had my 18th birthday, like maybe 2 months after I moved to Toronto. And it was quite a lonely experience, just being very young in a new city, thinking you're gonna meet all these cool people and like be able to go out. But especially when you're that young, I mean, a lot of the people I was meeting were a lot older than me. They would all go out. I wasn't of age to follow them, you know.
Yeah.
So it was really hard for me to kind of make those connections. And eventually I decided to move back, and that's when I started managing different businesses. So I worked in fashion retail for a long time, and I just kept following my love for clothing. And that's kind of where it led me to study in fashion marketing. So I did my program through an online course from Lasalle College, and I was working full time and doing school at night. So I was working,
Wow.
yeah, at the time I was actually managing Starbucks store or coffee shop, and I was waking up at 4 a.m. doing a 5 a.m. shift until like 2 o'clock ish, and then I'd go home, study, and be in class at night. So I
That's
was
commitment. That is amazing.
crazy. I was insane to even think that that would be a fun time. But weirdly enough, it actually really was a fun time, because I just really dove into my studies, because I realized, wow, like I can enjoy school when I'm studying about something I'm passionate about, you know?
That is so true. Yeah.
Where I didn't before. And what I found in my program, which was really fun, is that how much I really enjoyed the marketing aspect of things. Because although it was fashion marketing, we did do a lot of general marketing courses, so that could apply to anything. And
Right.
I grew up with a very entrepreneurial family. Like my mom's a business owner. She has been my entire life. I haven't known anything else. And you know, my sister eventually owned her own business too. And so just being surrounded by that, I always had in the back of my mind that I would just be an entrepreneur. I didn't know what it was going to be. In my mind, it was always going to be a clothing store, which still is in the back of my mind. But I just knew that that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be my own boss. I wanted to, you know, really, I didn't know. But all to say, when the pandemic hit, I lost my job as a business manager, and I had just started Lavish and Rose, and really just threw myself into it. I was like, I went full like action mode. I was like, okay. I had never actually lost employment before where I didn't find something right away. Like usually I'm always like, okay, I'm gonna go find something else. And this time my lovely partner, love him to death, he was like, you can do this. Like, I'm going to support you if you need my support. And like, I'm here for you and I believe in you. And it really put the wind beneath my wings to really jump and like do this. So after months of working at Lavish and Rose during the pandemic, I just knew with the current climate of the world, it was really hard to just focus all my energy into a fashion business where people were staying at home and not getting dressed or doing makeup. So, you know, and although I built like a really amazing community online, you know, I have amazing people that follow me, read my blogs, watch my YouTube videos, and like really supported me. And I cherish them so much as clients. But I was like, I need to figure out another passion that I can turn into a business. And part of the love that I found with Lavish and Rose was doing my own marketing, and all digitally, all through social media. And I was like, I feel like I could do this for other businesses, because having been a business manager, I had seen so many businesses just trying to pawn social media off on an employee that doesn't really know what they're doing, or, you know, even getting in touch with marketing companies locally and just not feeling like they connected to their business. And I'm just so passionate about different things. Like it's not just fashion, not just marketing, just I love learning. I love knowing about different stuff and researching different things. So for me, it just felt like a natural fit to help business owners really market their business, because I get just as passionate about it as they are, like I feel. So yeah,
That's amazing. That's
so
amazing.
that's what led us to here.
Wow. Thank you so much for sharing that story. I'm sure that a lot of people can recognize themselves, especially when you were saying that in school you didn't really feel like you thought it was kind of hard and you didn't really click with it. For myself, even like that was like that in university, and at first I was disappointed in myself because I didn't think I was gonna succeed. But I think we're both the same, that we're supposed to be entrepreneurs. And yeah, my family, a lot of people are entrepreneurs as well, like you. So yeah, I'm definitely gonna have to hire you for the marketing aspect of my business, though.
I would love that. I would love that. It would be my pleasure.
Yeah, but yeah, that story was really interesting, and I love how, like, looking back, you can connect the dots and see how everything happened for a reason for you, and it's all like coming to fruition for you, and you're creating this amazing businesses plural. So I'm so proud, and I'm such a fan of you and your work.
Thank you. I definitely think that it's funny that you made that comment, because I've always said that anything that's happened to me in my life, whether it be like negative or positive, even some of the most negative things, I've found that I don't wish it wouldn't have happened. You know what I mean? Like, I'm like, good, it taught me this, it brought me to this other thing. Like, there was just, I can look back on my life and do a literal map of where things brought me.
Yeah.
And I think it's so easy to focus on things that can happen and be bad, and you know, not realize that down the road it is eventually, even if you don't realize it right away, you're gonna be like, that's why that happened.
Yes,
right? So yeah,
exactly.
I love that you mentioned.
And a lot of people, like, it's so cliche, but everything does really happen for a reason. And I know that you and I are very spiritual as well. We believe that. That brings me to wellness and mental health and all these things. So right now, do you feel like you're able to create balance in your life, where even as an entrepreneur and with all the different things you have to do in a day, do you feel that you're able to balance everything out?
That's a really great question, because some days I would probably answer no. But today I would answer yes. So it's funny, because it is a balancing act. It really is. Like, some days you're like, I feel like I'm drowning. I don't know what I'm doing this for, right? Like, am I doing the right thing? Am I following the right path? But again, then you go over that hurdle and you look back and you're like, yep, that is the right path. That is the right thing. But there's ebbs and flows to the seasons that, especially entrepreneurship will take you through, where it can be really rough, but finding balance is really key, because especially when I first launched, I think I went like maybe 5 months without taking like a full day off. Which even if it was just like I'd be off, but then I'd work like maybe an hour or two at the end of the day, but really taking like a full day of just not doing anything. And as much as my business is my passion and I love it, it's not, it's not something I want to be doing every day. There's needs to be time for me, for Jessica, and for me to grow and for me to learn and to spend time with myself. I'm very much an extroverted person. I love to talk to people, but I need my time to like refuel and, just be by myself and cuddle my cat and do what I want to do, So I think that's so important within, especially entrepreneurship, but everybody, just to have time for yourself and focus on you.
Definitely. I know what you mean, for sure. It is kind of hard sometimes, because your business, like, you can get ideas at night and you want to go write it down or something like that. It doesn't stop at 5, and
No.
so yeah, we have to find that balance and connect with ourselves and take the time for ourselves, for self-care, and for friends and our partner and family and all these things that will support our business, because if we're healthy, then the business is healthy as well.
That's so true. And I don't know if I heard it in a podcast or I read it somewhere, but not that long ago, someone had said that they were like, you are your biggest asset in your business. So if you're not taking care of yourself, your business is going to suffer. And I just thought that was so powerful because it's so true, right? Like we're putting all our energy and our love into our businesses. And if we don't return it to ourselves, then, you know, your business is going to suffer. You're going to suffer. The people around you are going to suffer, right? So again, it's just finding that balance with everything is so, so important.
Exactly. And like if you are an overachiever and you do too much, you aren't able to show up as you're 100% when you are working because you're spreading yourself too thin. So that's very important message to bring, especially for entrepreneurs, but other people as well. Everybody can do that. So social house media.
Yes.
If somebody were to hire you, what would be that process?
100%. So we always start with a consultation, always. No matter what you're interested in as a service, we just talk about your business and where you're at, what you've tried before. If you've tried something, is it working? Is it not? You know, what that path looks like for you in terms of just your overall marketing strategy. And then we, from there, send you a proposal to break down, you know, services that we offer, what the costs are. And from there, we wait to hear back from the client. And hopefully it's a yes. It's always fun when you do, because anytime you say yes to an entrepreneur or a small business, they do a happy dance, and they really do. So, and then after that, we start with a social media strategy. So we never just start anything on the fly. We always make a plan and really execute. So that's always how the beginning process works.
Beautiful. And usually work for them for a certain amount of time, or like
Yeah, so we always ask a minimum of 6-month commitment depending on the service. I mean, usually one of our most popular, I guess, services is social media management or campaign management, so ad management. And that would be a 6-month minimum commitment.
Interesting. Okay. So within that frame, what is one of the biggest marketing mistakes that people do?
I would say not knowing who you're marketing to. So, because it's so easy for us as business owners to put our feelings and our love into what we do and really look at it from a personal perspective. But sometimes your target client that you're trying to speak to in your marketing isn't necessarily a reflection of you. So it's really important to be open to people's feedback, listen to, you know, your audience. If they're telling you something, don't ignore it, you know. So those are all really important things, just not forgetting who you're there for at the end of the day and speaking to that specific person and doing all your messaging around connecting with that potential client that would come to you.
Okay, beautiful answer. What is 3 advice that you would give to a new business that has no clue how to do social media marketing?
Top 3 biggest things that you need to do: make a plan, and again, know who you're talking to. Make sure that you're doing everything with intention and not just on the fly. I think that's probably the second biggest mistake I see, is doing stuff on the fly.
I do that all the time.
And you're so not alone. And you know what? Even I'm guilty of it, you know, because I am managing so many other people's accounts and other people's, you know, marketing, that I often, mine gets fallen by the wayside, right? And I'll end up doing stuff on the fly. When I do that, I see that my engagement, my content, everything suffers, right?
Interesting.
So yeah, so just really doing everything with intention, just really planning out. So make a plan. Number 2 would be actually execute your plan. The amount of people I see that either hire out, just in general, I've seen people hire out, do really great business strategies, marketing strategies with them, and then they just don't really do anything that they discussed or planned out. So it just really defeats the point, right? But again, it's because you get busy, it's easy. But if you are intentional and make the time to stick with it, it's totally doable. And then number 3 would be adjusting your plan. So that's probably the other thing, is just seeing, you know, business owners make that plan and be so dedicated to, well, this worked for me, and, you know, I really like this, and it, for whatever reason, they don't want to defer away from that plan. When in reality, sometimes you have to adjust. Like, your audience grows, you get new people that follow you, or you're trying to attract a specific type of client for a specific product, but you're sticking to the old plan that's not really working. So really just learning to adjust and adapt with whatever climate of what you're trying to market with.
That's so true. And I know a lot of people say that like social media is changing quickly too. So I'm
Yes.
sure that we have to adjust our marketing according to what's trending and stuff like that as well, right?
Yes, 100%. For sure. Sticking with the trends, but also just not being scared to try different things too, though. I find a lot of people will stick too much with the trends and then forget that, your voice matters too, and your uniqueness. So that's also very important.
Being yourself, being authentic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's only one you. Right?
That's what makes us powerful, is our own true selves, being ourselves, because there's
100%.
only one person that can do that, and it's you.
Yeah, and it shines through in everything you do in your business, right? So at the end of the day, there can be, even for me in my business, right? There's thousands and thousands of people online that do social media marketing, digital marketing, but why does that one client choose to come to me, right? It's for that energy and that, I guess vibe that I put out and I want to attract back. So yeah.
The energy. Would you say that our personality can be part of our brand as well?
Oh, 100%. Yeah. And I think it should. I think humanizing your brand is very important. Even if you're a product-based company that you're not necessarily going to be showing up in your content, maybe it's telling your customer story, bringing that humanness and not just being like, this is my product.
Yeah.
Because at the end of it, that's what, especially social media, if we're going back to social media marketing, is for. We're there for connection. We want to connect with something. We want to feel something. So not forgetting that is really important.
Amazing. So I want to hear about your future, because you have so much going on for you. You have so many big projects, and I know you have a big plan for your life, and I want to know what you plan to do in the next 5 or 10 years.
This is so funny. So it's funny because you told me you were going to ask me this. So I was like, I really have to reflect on this one. And I could go in detail about all my plans, but I wanted to keep it somewhat simple. So all I wrote down my notes. I wrote down financial freedom. I think that for me is really big, especially my business. I didn't really grow up very wealthy, actually the opposite. So I find that that's something that I brought into my adulthood. I'm like, I always want to make sure that I can do everything I want to do and not feel limited. And within the 5 to 10 next years, I mean, especially with the industry that I'm in, I can work from anywhere in the world. So I really want to be able to financially be able to do that and really take my business abroad. And, if I want to leave for a month and go spend, my work days at the beach in Bali, then I can do that. So, that's kind of that's my like main goal for sure. And even just personally, like definitely want to start a family eventually. And, but yeah. That's the next 5-10 years for me.
I mean, that's a big goal, and that's a good goal to have, because financial freedom is everything. Like, you get more time for yourself, for your family, and to travel and all these things. And as an entrepreneur, it's a possibility. It's something that we can create for ourselves. So exactly. I'm right there with you. So that's a good goal to have. All right. And I wanted to ask you as well, if you could go back in time to talk to younger Jessica, what would you tell her about your life, or any advice? Or
I would tell her, what would I tell her? I would tell her to not worry about the details. Because like, as I mentioned earlier, I always knew I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I was always like focusing on that one thing, like wanting to have a clothing store. I was like, that's going to be my business. This is what I'm going to do. But in reality, like when you're open to everything that the universe is willing to give to you, then so many different possibilities can come up and different things that bring you joy. And if you're too focused on that one thing, sometimes you can be closed off to those opportunities.
Yes.
And I would even tell her to just be confident with everything, just not worry about making a move. Like, I think for a long time I stayed in certain even just to do with work, but personal situations too long without having the confidence to change my environment. It's so easy to stay comfortable, right?
The comfort zone, yeah.
100%. It's so easy. It's so easy to stay in comfort when in reality, I think one of the biggest lessons I've learned over the last decade is just the more uncomfortable you can be, the better.
Yes, for growth.
You will find growth in discomfort, and whether it be with situations you do or even in conversations with people, conversations you don't really want to have, but then you do, and then you're like, you know what, why was I worrying about that? You know what I mean? Like there's all these different scenarios where discomfort is just a good thing when we are so easily scared and just stick to comfort.
Beautiful. Taking action is really important.
Yes.
That's a very good answer. So what is your definition of a goddess?
My definition of a goddess is, I would say, someone that has done the work to better themselves and that can really stand tall in their individuality.
Beautiful.
Yeah. Just not being scared to be who you want to be, and, you know, just be you in the loudest way possible.
Energy is very important, and being yourself and loving yourself is very important. So I totally agree with that. That was so interesting. Thank you so much for this conversation with me. Thank you so much for being on my podcast.
Well, thanks for having me.
It was really interesting to listen to you speak, and you're so wise and knowledgeable, and I love hearing your story and everything you're up to. Your businesses are booming, and I'm so proud of you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
So if somebody were to try to find you for your businesses or even to connect with you personally, where would they be able to find you?
Yes, so you can find me at social.house.media. And then you can also find me at Jessica Auffrey on Instagram and TikTok. And yeah, those are pretty much the places I like to hang out. And then you'll find all my other ventures as well on there. So yeah.
Awesome. Is there anything else you wanted to say before we end the episode?
No, just thank you so much for having me. This was so much fun. This was my first podcast, so I feel honored that it was with you.
Oh, thanks. You did so well. You did so well.
Thank you so much.
Very well spoken and confident. Like you're just natural.
Thank you. Thank you. And yeah, I guess thanks to anyone who's going to listen to my stories.
Hopefully we'll have you again on the podcast soon.
Yeah, I hope so too.
All right. Bye, Jessica.
Bye.